Welcome everyone to the first LEGO League JumpStart event for British Columbia. We're glad to have everyone here today. And just before we start, we are just acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the coastal Salish peoples. So wherever we are, we're just acknowledging that we're on the First Nations territory. For today, we're going to do an intro to the FLL replay and GameChanger season. And we're going to intro the robot game. We're going to have Ushi walk you around. Myself and Ushi, we're going to help you orient yourself to the robot game. We're also going to look at the challenge project, challenge interview, and core values. We're going to hear from an FLL team, a previous champion, first place champion team, about core values. We're also going to get some great tips from some experts from British Columbia on robot building with the EV3, and we'll also showcase the Spike Prime, which just came out this year. And so today we have myself as Barish Golan. I'm the first senior mentor for BC. We have Ushi Leslie, FLL program delivery partner for BC. Ushi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have Christine Nichols in the form of she's presenting a video. She's on the innovation project. We have Steve Graham, FLL interview. And the first order FLL team, you'll get to meet them in the core values video. And we also have Victor Fan on the robot build for EV3.
Hi, everyone.
And John Zhang is not with us today, but you'll be hearing from him in an upcoming seminar, who will be presenting on the robot build for Spike Prime. Okay, so the FLL season is called, it's part of a larger challenge season called GameChanger, which we share with the first robotics competition, the FTC, which is the first tech challenge, and then first LEGO League. You will have seen in our kickoff event that first LEGO League has become three different sections: Discovery, Explore, and Challenge. And so we'll be focusing this on the replay season, the replay challenge for the seasons for ages 6 to 10. And that's what we'll be showing you today. And so we're going to give you an introduction to the replay robot game. So Ushi, would you like me to walk people around the board? How would you?
Please just show the board while I'm talking.
Yes. Okay. I'm just going to switch my camera, and then I'm going to stop share, and we are going to spotlight. Okay.
Excellent. So, hey, this is for the robot game. So the robot game is one of 4 parts to FLL Challenge, and it counts for 1/4. The other parts, of course, are robot design, innovation project, and core values. At a tournament, you will have 3 tries at the robot games, and your best score will count. So here you can see a competition table. It's full of mission models that the robot can interact with. Now, for a brief overview of the various missions, there is a video on the First Inspire site. I'll show you later where that actually is. So there you get a quick overview, but there's also a robot game rule book, and that is the really important part because you really need to read the robot game rules about all the missions. And by the way, we have our head referee here today who can answer questions later. So in the robot game, the robot has to be programmed to run autonomously. So no driver control while you're driving. It has to be pre-programmed. And each match is 2.5 minutes. Usually, of course, teams will try to get as many points as possible. But your team can decide whatever it wants. If your team decides that a particular mission looks really interesting and they want to do that and to hell with the points, That's okay. They can do as they wish. Now, when you come to the robot competition table, you will have equipment. You'll have your robot, and you have maybe attachments that you made, like an arm or whatever, or maybe a plow or whatever, a jig to make it position properly. All that stuff needs to be shown to the ref and put into one of the inspection areas. Barish, can you point on the small inspection area, please? They are next to the launch area, right? Yep. Yeah, that's good. Your arm isn't long enough, but this big black thing where all the little pieces are in.
Yeah.
That is the small inspection area. It actually has a ceiling, 12 inches. So everything you bring has to fit in there. It can also fit into the larger area, which is on the right of the screen here. But if it can all fit into the small area, you get extra points. So we have a home area where you keep all your stuff. And the home area is the strip next to the field on our right. We can only see a little bit of it. So the home area is the two inspection areas, plus this quarter circle where you see the robot sitting right now. That is, the quarter circle is the launch area. And the launch area is part of home. But the launch area means that you have to start your robot in the launch area. Everything the robot is carrying around to your first mission, that includes a plow or an arm or whatever you have attached, has to fit into the launch area. But when the robot comes back, you can get it back anywhere in home. It can come back just to the launch area, but you cannot make it go back anywhere in home. And once it's in home, you can handle it and make any changes you might want, and then put it back in the launch area to start again. So for the first time when the match starts, you're ready to set up in the launch area. There's a countdown, usually 3, 2, 1, Lego, and then you press a button and the robot rolls off and does its thing. Right. So it starts in the launch area, it must return to home. You can do this anytime, as many times as you want during a match. A good thing to start might be the guided mission. There's one guided mission where a program is provided and ideas on how to build the robot to make it work for that mission. It's actually the botcha mission. And I found it a bit challenging to find the program. I think it's only, you get the program only if you have the education software installed on your computer. So not everybody has that, but it's there somewhere. You can do the missions in any order you want. And you will notice that, of course, it's probably helpful to have a bit of strategy to sort of do missions in one particular area all at once, possibly, and not start out with one mission in one completely different area of the field than the next mission. But it's your team's choice. Sometimes it happens that the robot does things that you don't want, and it runs off the wrong place and it gets stuck. If that happens, no matter, go and pick it up, put it back in the launch area, start again. Mm-hmm. But that is called an interruption. And if you interrupt your robot, the referee will take one of these. They're all in a pile there, but there are 6. But they're called precision tokens. And the referee will take one away, which means that you will have a few less points. And these tokens, if you have any left at the end, will count for you. So if you interrupt your robot too many times, you might have no tokens left. So at the end of the match, after 2.5 minutes, there's a big beep and you have to stop. And the referee will get a look at the field and look what happened and will score the game. Your team members will be able to stand there and check what the referee has seen. And once everybody agrees, a little score sheet is signed, and that's it. Now, only 2 members of your team are allowed at the table at the same time. But you can tag in and out during the match. So what a lot of teams do is that they have two team members at the table setting up the robot for the first mission. They wait until the Lego countdown, they go press the button, and once the robot is doing its thing, and the team members run away and 2 others come in instead, and they receive the robot back when it comes back from its first mission. And then they set up for the next mission, make it go away, and then they ran off and 2 other team members come in. So that way you can have all the team members participate in any single robot run. You don't have to do this, but a lot of teams do. Now, the core values, which we'll hear more about later, are integrated in everything. So while you're doing the robot game, people will watch you on how you act. So if you are found to cheat or try to cheat, or if you find, if you're seen to jeer other teams or whatever, that would count against you. So don't do that. Remember that missions can be done in a number of different ways. For example, we see these tires here. So one of the missions is to flip a tire. Now, you could probably think of various ways a robot could actually do that. The robot could maybe drive a wedge underneath it from the front and then flip it up. Or maybe the robot can have a claw that goes over top of the tire and then pull. Or maybe it can drop a heavy weight on one side so that the tire will turn. So think of it. There are various ways you can do every single mission. And the robot can come from one side or the other side, and it may have an arm like this robot here, or it may have an arm that moves sideways. All kinds of things are possible. So your ideas are welcome, and you can use whatever works for you. But you do need to have to read the rules for the missions. So if there are certain missions, don't just assume how the rules about that mission might be. Read the actual rules and make sure. Also, there are updates published every now and then on the first website in the resources page, which I'll show you in a minute. So make sure you read those. Now, here is a couple of special things for remote events. Of course, due to COVID, we don't have a regular season with regular tournaments. We'll have remote tournaments. And at remote tournaments, you don't have a second competition table next to your own. You do all your stuff by yourself. And yes, here we are seeing the bocce mission, which is normally the shared mission, where you launch a bocce ball, which at the moment will just fall off the table, but in a regular competition, it would land on a second competition table. Now, we won't have this shared mission. We may possibly have a modified version of a shared mission, but we don't know that yet. So please hang on, we don't know these details yet. But in a remote event, you will take video of your robot runs. And where Barish is standing, Barish, if you go back a little bit, you'll see there's some guidance about how to do this, but you don't need a big camera, you just need a cell phone. You need somebody to take video of a total one uninterrupted robot run. In fact, 3 different uninterrupted robot runs. And you'll have a certain time window to upload those to our event site. You will also have to do a practice run and upload that. And the practice run is mostly for the referees. They look at it to make sure that on the video they can see everything important. If we have a hybrid event, meaning that some teams are actually present at the venue and other teams are not, then we will do the scoring as if it was in a remote event. Again, the details haven't been quite figured out, but no matter what, we will make sure that the teams will have the same chances and the same opportunities, whether they're actually present in person or not. And finally, if things go wrong and the robot doesn't work as you wish, don't despair, because remember, this game counts for only 25% of the whole. And anyway, the overall aim is that you have fun. Now I would like to briefly share my screen because I want to show you the resources. And I'll see this. I hope that will work. So you should see the resource library. If you go to the resource library on the First Inspires website, and if you click FLL for First Legally Challenge, then you see all these resources. If you scroll down a little bit and go to Challenge, Updates, and Resources, then you should come to this. And here are the challenge, update, and resources just for First Lego League Challenge. You find the game mission video right here for a quick overview of all the missions. Here are some neat videos, 3 of them in fact, about First Lego League in general, which you all know already, about the robot game, which repeats most of what I said just now, and about being at a tournament, which is, that's fun to watch. I would encourage you to watch that. And then down here, oops, we have participation rules, the robot game handbook, replay rubrics, score sheet, judging session, awards. Now, all these resources you can see here. What you can also do is go to your dashboard. So here's my dashboard. On the dashboard, in the tab My Teams, is something called Access ThinkScape. If you click on that, you get here. And it looks like there's a course that you can take. And if you mouse over this thing, it flips. If you click on that, you get to this. Then you have two things that flip. But if you click on this one here, you finally get to actual resources, which I hope right here. And there's actually quite a lot of resources. So first has put all the stuff you probably will need for your team into the ThinkScape thing. And I think that's really quite handy. So you might want to use those and this access to all the resources instead of the resource library that's on the general website. And one of the neat thing is, oops, sorry, that's not it, is that you have remote guidance too. And the remote guidance shows you, how to run a team in times of COVID, but also how to do the videos for to send in your video of robot runs. And that's what I wanted to say. So Barish, back to you.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, so that was the robot game. Thank you, Ushi, for sharing all those great resources. I didn't realize all those manuals are now available online. You used to have to wait for them to send them in the mail, so that's great. Shall we do the FLL project? We're going to show a video.
Yep.
Of the FLL project. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure my computer sound is on. Okay, so we're going to listen to a short video on the FLL project by Christine Nichols.
In this session, we're going to learn about the Innovation Project. My name is Christine Nichols, and I coached a First LEGO League team starting back in 2006. So for the Innovation Project, teams have to solve a real-world question and share their research and findings with others. For this season, Replay, teams will explore what future spaces for play and physical activity will look like. And those spaces can be just about anything. In this session, we're going to learn about the Innovation Project. In this session, we're going to learn about the Innovation Project. My name is Christine Nichols, and I coached a First LEGO League team starting back in 2006. So for the Innovation Project, teams have to solve a real-world question and share their research and findings with others. For this season, Replay, teams will explore what future spaces for play and physical activity will look like. And those spaces can be just about anything. It could be a playground, it could be a beach, a backyard, it could be a family room, a fitness studio, a physical workout space, or even an office space. Anywhere that people should be getting physical activity or playing. That's that type of space is what a team has to choose. And so to do the Innovation Project, the first step is identify. Clearly define the problem and research it well. So clearly define the play space or physical activity location that your team has chosen, and then they have to do research on it. And that's where a lot of the fun of the project comes in. There's all kinds of people that the students can talk to. In this case, there's a group of students who met with a university researcher, and he was sharing all of his equipment and some of his research, his methodologies. The students learned a lot by talking with a person who's actually working in the field and hearing him say what issues he's dealing with, what problems he's encountered. That's the type of work that they should be doing. And it can also be a fair bit of fun. This team is looking at some creatures. We've also had teams who got to drive bomb disposal robots at the naval base. So the kids can go just about anywhere as part of identifying their play space or physical activity location. The next step is design. Teams generate innovative ideas independently before selecting and planning which one to develop. And that word independently is really important. The students on the team have to generate the ideas, not the mentors, not the coaches, not the parents. It's up to the kids to think about what they would like to research and what type of innovative idea they can come up with. In one season, a team I was coaching was asked to do an energy audit on a building. Probably 60% of the teams that year did an energy audit on their school, and another 30-40% of them did an energy audit on one of the students' homes. One of the team members on my team came in with this brilliant idea, he thought, that we should do an energy audit on the Spinnaker's Brew Pub. Now, none of us knew anybody who worked there, but rather than my saying, oh, we could never get permission to do that, I just kind of looked at him and said, well, are you willing to call them and explain what this is all about and ask if we can come in for a visit? He said, absolutely. So the next thing I know, he had actually arranged for us to come into Spinnaker's Brew Pub at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we met a manager there and explained what the team was doing, and they were all for it. And so these kids got to go all over the brew pub. They got to go into the brewery, into the kitchens, into the walk-in freezers. They got to go places that no member of the public ever gets to see. And so they had a great time, and it was all because I didn't impose my opinion that this would never work. I let them take the lead, and I just supported their innovative ideas. And the same thing comes with when they're selecting which idea to develop. I can tell you absolutely that the teams I've worked with have come up with ideas that I thought were never work. There was no way. But sure enough, they get creative and they find ways to make it work. So independently is really important, that this is the time when you have to let the students take the lead. The next step is create. The team develops an original idea or builds on an existing one and creates a prototype or model to represent their solution. So ideally, the team is actually going to come up with something completely new and different, but it is okay to take an idea from somewhere else and then figure out how to adapt it or apply it to the situation, to the location that they have chosen for their project. And when it comes time to create a prototype or model, it doesn't have to be a working prototype. They can make it out of cardboard. They can make it out of Play-Doh. They can make it out of clay. One year, a team actually was looking at erosion at a beach, and they got a big plastic tub and they created a landscape with water that sloshed around, showing the erosion. So again, let them figure it out. And when it comes time to create the prototype or model, make sure it is the work of the students doing it. We had one year where the prototype needed to have some pockets sewn on a shirt. And so one of our team members actually had his mom teach him how to use the sewing machine enough that he could stitch on these pockets. And so after the interview, the judges were talking with the students, and one of the questions was, well, what did you learn this season? And he, raises his hand and blurts right out, I learned to use a sewing machine. And so you never know when the kids are going to get really excited by something they've had a chance to learn as a result of the project. So go ahead and make sure it's their work, because they're going to be more proud of it, more excited about it, and do a much better job of presenting it if it's something that's come from them. And then the next step is iterate. So the team shares their ideas, collects feedback, and includes improvements in their solution. And just because we haven't had a picture for a while, I thought I'd toss this one in. Teams can share their ideas just about anywhere. They could go to the space they've chosen and see who's using it that day and find a way to talk to them safely this season, please. But they can also talk to maybe classmates at school. They could do a presentation for their parents. If they talk to any researchers as part of their initial identify and design steps, they could send even just a written summary to that researcher and ask for his comments. So there's lots of ways that they can do the iterate and then incorporate feedback into their final solution. And so the final step of the innovation project is communicate. The team shares a creative and effective presentation of their current solution and its impact on users. So not every team does it, but a lot of teams will create skits to be their 5-minute presentation for the judges. And that means that the students get to write a script for their skit. They get to design costumes, they get to make props, and it's a great way to bring in team members who may not have been that involved with the robot. Maybe programming or building isn't their thing, but they really do love the creativity of designing a skit. And so this is a neat opportunity for the students on the team to see kids who may not have contributed a lot suddenly take on a leadership role and be the ones who are contributing the ideas for the skit and presentation. So don't discourage them ever from trying something innovative in terms of how we're going to present this information to the judges at the competition. And so here are some costumes. I would say it's reasonable to assume that the students you see there probably made their costumes and posters, and that is what it should look like. If things look too professional, too much like they're made by an adult, you may find the judges asking some questions about, well, how did you generate this display? Or any sort of questions in that area, which could lead to, oh, well, my dad is a welder, so he made, and that's going to be the type of answer that helps your team lose points in terms of the evaluation at the end. But even more importantly, you have robbed your students of a chance to try something unusual, to learn how to do it. And really, that's what the innovation project is all about in First Lego League. It's about seeing what the team can do. Here's another idea of a simple presentation project that the students came up with. They made that red frame that you can see behind them. One of the students had access to a microscope they had used as part of the project, so they brought it in. So it doesn't mean that you can't have any sort of a prop that was purchased or something, but it does mean you don't need to spend a lot of money. You can just, they could have actually created a cardboard microscope just by, printing a picture of a microscope, cutting it out, and making a stand-up. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on these props. It's more about the innovation of the kids and what they can come up with. I didn't actually see this presentation, but I love the headdresses they've created for themselves, and it would be interesting to know what it's all about. So the main steps in the innovation project are identify, design, create, iterate, and communicate. And if I have one final reminder of the things I've talked about, it is so important that the students do this independently. That doesn't mean that you can't be there to help and support them, but it means it should be their ideas. It should be their work. And you need to step back and let them figure out how to make it possible, because they will amaze you. And one team from BC will even get nominated for the Global Innovation Award. So it could be your team. You never know. Good luck this season.
Okay, thanks so much, Christine, for that amazing presentation. I believe we have Christine with us, so she can answer any questions you have. But thanks so much for that. And obviously, during COVID times, sort of the physical meetings, if it's a remote event, they would be making a video of their project. Is that correct, Ushi?
Yes, it is.
Oh, sorry, Steve. Yes, thank you. Awesome. Shall we move on to core values, Ushi, or do you want to add something?
Well, I think actually the interview was first, but we
Okay.
can do
Oh, yeah. No, let's do the interview, and then, because this is another video, so let's do the interview. Yeah, so I'll stop my screen, and this is, I'll turn it over to...
Hi, everyone. Yeah.
Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've been a judge advisor for a number of years now in BC, and prior to that did lots of robot design judging. So I've spent quite a lot of hours in judging rooms. So I'll try and give you some insight into what's going on there. So, and I'll talk about judging in general, and then I'll talk about what's changed this year as well. So firstly, the judging may sound intimidating, but these are nice people. They're friendly. They're wanting to help you succeed. And often they wear goofy hats and things to kind of make it a fun day. So don't be nervous. Now, one of the challenges, though, about judging is, and this is for everyone, both the teams and the judges, is the time pressure. The schedules at these events is often very crunched, and things have to run extremely smoothly, and there's very little time to do the judging. So, for example, there may be the 5 minutes for the presentation that Christine has just talked about, and then 5 minutes of discussion, and then the team leaves, and then the judges have 5 minutes to discuss amongst themselves, and then they're on to the next team. And it does become well, it's important for teams to be on time, but it's super important for the judges to be on time as well. And it's a real challenge for them. And so it can become a blur for them too. So they have a tough day too. The teams may feel stressed, but the judges have a tough day too. So, but to help all this, it's important to for the team to focus on the task, be prepared, talk clearly, explain things concisely but well. So some preparation is important. And all the judges are looking for core values. So that gracious professionalism, that approach to things is observed throughout all the judging sessions and throughout the whole day of the event. So it's important to bear that in mind. It's also, it can be hard for judges to remember all the details of every team. They see so many things. They may see 12 different teams in a day, and they're obviously making notes, they're recording details and so on, but still it does become a blur. So when teams stand out in various ways, that does give them an advantage that at least they were memorable. And judges also know that different people on a team may make different contributions. As Christine said, not everyone wants to do software programming or robot building. They may be better on the presentation. So when the judges ask questions, they're aware that not all team members could, equally contribute to every aspect of this. Some teams are very good at spreading everything amongst the team members. Other teams specialize, and that's totally understood. So a core part of the judging session are rubrics, a set of criteria that are evaluated. And I'll sort of mention, similar to the points Christine raised around identifying innovation idea, creating the idea, iterating through it, etc. So those criteria are all sort of judged in that 10-minute session, and teams are ranked and evaluated whether the judges feel they're just beginning to understand those concepts and get to grips with them, or they're sort of developing some skill there, or they're fairly accomplished, or maybe even exceed the expectations around those criteria. Likewise, with robot design, there's a number of different criteria around designing the robot, the creativity, the strategies, whether there's iteration in terms of evaluating, testing, improving, refining. So again, all these criteria are evaluated on these rubrics. Likewise, there's core value rubrics, which include things like inclusivity. Does the team demonstrate respect and embrace differences? Does the team have fun? That's a criteria. So these rubrics are evaluated in the moment and scored. And at the end of the day, will be returned to the team for feedback to the team. So one of the challenges that we have is that these rubrics, as I say, are sort of evaluated in the moment. And as different judges, some judges may be scoring stricter than other judges. The range of evaluation may evolve as the day progresses and judges realize the range of possibilities. So the rubrics are really useful feedback to the team, but they shouldn't be treated as a score, and they shouldn't be compared. If teams compared rubrics between different teams, it really doesn't mean anything. It is purely feedback from the moment on where the judges thought that team did well, or where they could improve. So there's that immediate evaluation. But then after the interview, the judges spent quite a considerable amount of time doing more discussion and comparing, deliberating about the relative merits of what all the different teams did. And that's where the real deliberation and fairness and evaluation comes into play. So, and that takes a lot of time, and the judges take that part quite seriously. And we want to be fair. The other thing I'll mention, and Christine gave great examples of this, is the judges really do look for whether the team did the work, or whether they were led by coaches and mentors and guided too much. So all the judging looks for that, and it's taken quite seriously, and can be quite penalizing if the judges think that the team really did not do the work themselves, or were guided too much. I mean, obviously, some guidance is appropriate, and everyone uses Google nowadays to find out information. So we're not saying that's not allowed, but it really has to come from the team members. And so they need to seek out what they want. And if the judges get the impression that didn't happen, then that really penalizes them quite heavily, actually. So you don't want that to happen. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so some changes this year. Some of these changes were planned already, and most of them, though, are COVID influenced changes. So the biggest difference this year is that instead of 3 separate judging sessions, it's been an innovation project, a robot design, and core values as 3 separate sessions ever since I've been involved. That's now going to be 1 session, roughly 30-minute session. And all the 3 different types of judges will be in that session. And the teams will submit a video of their project presentation and a video of their design ideas, robot design ideas, beforehand. And the details of that will be explained much closer to an event. But they will submit these videos, and then during that 30-minute period, the judges will review and discuss that with the teams and ask questions and so on. So this will be an interesting change. And whether these events are totally virtual or hybrid, to be fair, the judging is pretty much going to be all virtual in all likelihood. And so this process of submitting videos and then reviewing in a session with the judges is going to be how this event happens. So for anyone who has participated before, for example, in the robot design judging room, there was always a competition table, and teams could present their robot and show details of their attachments and so on. So that all needs to be done in a prepared video beforehand. And yeah, I guess I'll stop there, and we'll have a Q&A shortly, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Harish, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Sorry, you don't hear me? Do you hear me now? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Steve, for that. That was amazing. We've recorded that as well, so we could capture that. It's great to hear from a longtime judge and get that perspective on that interview process. Anything else to add, Ushi, or are we good?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to, shall we move on to the core values?
Yep, let's do that.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't hear you. Okay. So for core values, we're going to hear from the First Order team in Smithers. They won the championship last year. And they have prepared a short video on core values. And it's always great to hear from a team to see their perspective. So let's listen to them.
Hello, I'm Marley, a team member of the First Order from Smithers, BC. This is our presentation about core values and why they are important in almost everything you do.
Hi, I am Lyra. I'm a mentor of the team 38859, the First Order. Like Woody Flowers, the co-founder of FLL, said, gracious professionalism means that we learn and compete like crazy, but we treat everyone with respect and kindness.
This means not just making sure that everyone on our team is welcomed and heard, but also reaching out to the community and finding other people who are curious about robotics.
For us, discovery means learning about the world that we live in as well as ourselves. We learn skills that will become useful in later life, which include being curious, asking questions, listening and respecting the ideas of others, and passionately pursuing solutions to problems.
Innovation. To us, this means to go above and beyond, making new solutions and finding new ways to do things. The boundaries of science and discovery are only expanded by people who believe that there's more than one way of doing things.
When we were younger, someone introduced us to FLL and taught us to the point where we could share what we learned with others like us. There are so many people who might benefit from learning how to program and run a robot, and we could teach them and impact their lives.
Teamwork is a difficult skill to learn, and we spend lots of time practicing it. As we come to a team practice, every person has their own ideas and perspectives, and we have to learn how to give room for everyone to express them. Eventually, we come away with a way to move forward.
Fun. While balancing all these other core values, our team has to make sure that we're always having fun with what we're doing. Whether it is teamwork challenges, brainstorming a project, or participating in a competition, we do our best to enjoy the process.
In our meetings, the first core values express themselves in a way the team members interact with each other. Each week, we did specially designed teamwork challenges that help foster communication, inclusion, and fun.
The Core Values board is a collection and display of your core values throughout the season. In this board, you'll be presenting ideas of how you and your team demonstrated or learned about each of the core values. For our team, we like to use eye-catching colors, decorations, and lots of pictures from the season. This is your chance to tell about who your team is. Last year on our board, our team used a color theme of black, silver, and red with pop-out tiles and many pictures. During an event, you should do your best to act on every core value. This makes the competition more enjoyable for everyone. This could mean helping other teams, giving high fives, wishing teams the best of luck, respecting judges and refs, and being a good sport. Later in life, using the core values will help you learn communication, teamwork, and respecting other people's ideas. All of these qualities are very useful in later life. FLL is also good content for school assignments. So we came up with a few teamwork challenges. Our first challenge, it can be used in a social distancing environment. We call it the communication duplication. In this challenge, the team can be split into groups of 3 to 5 people, positioned throughout a room or a series of rooms. One person is given an object built out of Legos, and the other is given the same pieces but broken down. Screens are positioned in front of the people with Legos so that only they can see what they are doing. The people in between are tasked with delivering the design instructions. This challenge helps communication and trust. The second teamwork challenge is called Minefield. We based it off a programming challenge from a robotics camp a few years ago. A basket of random objects, for this we use Lego Duplo, is scattered over a small area. A small path is created through the minefield. Taking turn, the team members are blindfolded and then led to the starting line. Their teammates are tasked with guiding them verbally through the maze without letting them blow up any mines. Depending on the size of the area and path, this challenge is really hard to actually complete. Even if they don't make it all the way through, it helps foster teamwork, trust, and communication. The third teamwork challenge is called Guess Who. Each person has a piece of paper attached to their back or forehead with the name of a famous person, living or dead. Through asking questions and gathering information, they have to figure out who they are, as well as helping the other team members figure out their alternate identities. This challenge is easy because it requires very little setup. It is also fun and amusing. The fourth and final teamwork challenge is a classic that I've been doing for years. It's called the knot. Team members stand in a circle with their eyes closed and reach out and randomly grab another team member's hands. Hopefully, when they open their eyes, they'll be faced with a complicated knot of linked arms that they'll have to untangle without breaking their hold. It works better with a larger team and requires no preparation at all. Those are 4 examples of basic teamwork or simple teamwork challenges that you can use for your team. These help build the core values for the season. Thank you for coming to our presentation on core values.
Awesome. Loved it. That's great. Those are some great activities. Yeah. Okay. Ushi, do you want to add anything?
No, I think that's all. It's great.
Your audio has gone off for some reason. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just me. Okay. Awesome. So we're going to turn this over to Victor. Victor Fan, I'd just like to introduce him, longtime coach, mentor, really EV3 and FLL expert. He's got an incredible YouTube channel where he walks people through the different FLL challenges. He does this every year. And so we'll be sharing that YouTube channel afterwards. And so I'm just going to stop my screen and Victor, take it away.
Okay, now first of all, I just would like to talking about the vehicle. The first things we need to think about to build a vehicle is try to think about the gravity. All the vehicle you are going to build is the gravity should be very static, and we can test it on your table, such as we can try to put your vehicle just like that. It can stand in some way and will not falling down. And this one will be your horizontal, and try to do the other one. So both lines connect together connect together will be, let me see, it has the link. Okay, if this 1 and 2, so this one will be the center. Has some lag. Okay, this will be the center. Therefore, so when you go, it will be very smooth. Okay, and by the way, if most of our vehicle has 3 okay, most of our has 3 2 tires and 1 castle wheels. We can talking about like that. And these 3 should be a triangle. And this 2 line and 3 line, if these 3 line will be the same length, it will be the best. Because of your set gravity will be on here. Okay, so this is the first things we need to try to think about that. And then the second things is add some sensors to guide our vehicle can go somewhere or stop in somewhere that we want. The first one I would like to identify is there is a gyro sensor inside of here, inside of the vehicle, which means why I put the gyro sensor, no matter which one, all the gyro sensor, you cannot see. Only this one, you can see the gyro sensor. It's the gyro sensor over here. I just wait a while because of seems lag. Okay, the gyro sensor will be on the center of your vehicle. And the gyro sensor will help the vehicle to turn. And the other 2 I would suggest is 2 light sensors. I will discuss this one later. That two light sensors, I will discuss that later to tell why we need 2. Okay, and then the last one is ultrasonic sensor. And the ultrasonic sensors sometimes will be on the back, or sometimes we design just in the front. It depends on what you need. Okay, this is there are 3 different kinds of vehicle. It seems mostly the same. All the gravity are on the center of our vehicle. And on the internet, on my YouTube channel, I try to use this one, become an example, starting from very beginning and to the modularized one. And why we need to build our vehicle just like a modularized. That is because of we need to mount our gears very easy, just like that. It seems like very, very slow. Okay. So I just need to wait a while, wait the video exchange. So just try to remind 2 things. One is gravity. The second thing is the sensors. And then the third thing is modularize our design. That because of that will be very easy to attach and detach. Okay, I just stop here to see if there anyone who has the question to ask about that, because of the video seems lag very much.
Okay, yeah. So if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. Victor, I had one question. I always hear from teams, they complain about the gyro sensor being slightly inaccurate. Do you put some special programming? How do
Yes,
you do that? Yeah.
Okay, the gyro sensor, I think because there are a lot of things we need to talk about. So I think if they have any questions, we need to have the spatial courses to talk about the programming things, talking about the gyro sensor. But on the building things, there is one thing that I need to mention is the gyro sensor or gyro sensor should be on the center of your vehicle. Some of the team, they build the gyro sensor on the side or in the front or in the rear. I don't think that is a good idea. And the gyro sensor still have one thing I need to just mention, that is the gyro sensor has the positive and negative side. So they still, no matter this, so when they turn, sometimes they will from the positive side turn to the negative side. So there are a lot of things we need to consider about that. But for the building, one thing, put the gyro sensor on the center, the gravity center of your vehicle. That will be the hardware side.
Okay. Great. Okay, awesome. And I think you have some YouTube videos about the programming,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. I have some YouTube, so I can mention that if they want to build something very modularized vehicle, they can try to go to my channel to find compact box. I will type it, compact box. They have different courses, different steps, starting from very beginning, from building a basic robot and add some sensors, and then enhance their enforcements they are building, and add some gearbox inside of that, and become very modularized vehicle. If they need my email, I think Uchi, you have my email. If they ask, you can let them know my email, and then I will send the video that they want. And the last things is I would like to talk about is, why do we need two color sensors? Okay.
Yes.
This is this year's map. We have lots of different kind of line, black line, the line. But if I just would like to put this one on somewhere. Okay, look at that. There is a color sensor on here. We can follow this line using this sensor, or we still can use this one. And most of the time, our vehicle cannot go very straight. Therefore, we can try to find the black line become straight. Then our vehicle can face the black line. Then we can know where we are, and we can make sure our vehicle is very steady and just face to the object that we want. So that is, I would suggest, we need two light sensors. And still, I can mention that no matter what kind of light sensor, is the NXT light sensor or EV3 light sensor, both works. Or NXT 1.0, 2.0 to EV3. Both light sensor works on our EV3. And talking about the ultrasonic sensor on the back, I mostly the time I put the ultrasonic sensor on the back. Why? Because of in the front we know where we are, but most of the time we don't know. Is there anything on our back? And then we can try to use this one to know how far we face to the wall, then we can know where we are. That is why I put the ultrasonic sensor on the back. Okay, that is the whole thing that I would like to mention. Is there anyone who has the questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
And that is, I think most teams will just have one EV3 set, and it only comes with one light sensor.
Okay.
So where would you recommend putting the light sensor if you only have one?
Okay, if you only have one light sensor, you need to think about your strategy. Why? Because we can think about this. There is one mission go through here. So it depends on you want to go through from here using this line. Okay, let me see that. Okay, using this one, or you can go from here using this one. So it depends on which one, what kind of strategy you are going to use. Or maybe you can put it on the center, but on the center will be not very flexible. We can see the whole map. No matter where we are going to go, if we are going from here, let me see. Okay, there is the one over here. Let's see.
It's kind of out of the picture here.
Yeah, I try to see where
That's
I am.
okay. We can't see it right now.
Yeah, that is why I'm trying to. Okay, I try to find the change the different angle. Okay.
Oh, right on.
Okay, look at this one. This line is over there, the black line. This one, this black line. So think about the vehicles. If I use this one, use light sensor. Therefore, that will be very easy for us to go from here. You can see the pictures. The room still enough. But if I use this one, it will hit. Look at this. See that? That will hit this one. So if you would like to pass through here, you need to put your light sensor on the right hand side. It depends on what kind of strategy you are trying to make. But if you use put on the middle side, you still will hit the other side.
Okay. I have another question.
Okay.
And that's about the NXT light sensors.
Oh,
now,
that is what I said. NXT sensor still works.
Well, the NXT color sensor does.
Still works.
But the NXT light sensor? Still works. And how do you make it work?
Okay, you need to use the refraction. Okay, I will close this one. I will try to share another different screen. Let me see.
Actually, I think maybe if you were to produce a little video on how to use an NXT light sensor with the EV3, that would be really good for a lot of teams.
Yes, that is why I say no matter what kind of things, do not use the color. Try to use the refraction. They have the refraction light. Use that kind of mode. Do not use the color mode. Use the refraction mode. The refraction mode will tell us the refraction from 0 to 100, then identify what kind of color it is. Most of the rubrics, they always use the black or white. But when we go to the competition, black and white will be changed because of the light. That will totally different than your home. So I think if we are going to talking about the sensor, how to use the sensor, there are several ways they can do. Either way, they can go to the channel. Still, I have lot of channels talking about the light sensor.
Okay.
They can watch the channel first, and then if they have any question, they can just send me the email or ask me something.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I really love your robotics classroom interface.
Oh,
And you are fully prepared for COVID online teaching.
yeah, because I always now I have the remote online class at my home.
Oh wow, that's a
Super.
great example of how to do coaching online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have we need to move on to Spike Prime. We do have John Zhang here, so thank you so much, Victor, and we will share your YouTube channel and these resources and this video after with everyone, with all the teams and coaches that have signed up. So thank you. John, did you want to share about Spike Prime?
Oh yes, okay. Yeah, so I just we just started the Spark Prime class at around September, and yeah, I just find out it's very friendly to the starters. Okay, so I'll just give you guys some like a brief introduction about the Spike. Okay, so first we can compare. Okay, sorry. First, we found out because before we had a problem is when we try to transfer the WeDo student to the EV3, there's a really big gap. So they really have problem of like understanding the new things because the changes are too much. Okay, so then, but when we put student into the spike class, it's getting much easier. It's because we can see the difference between these two robots. As that's a size comparison of these two robots. You can see Spike is much smaller than EV3, and it's much lighter. So in that case, we know that when we do EV3, lots of students suffering from the inaccuracy. For example, when we want to make a 90-degree turn, we put some numbers there. They always slide a lot. But this one for the younger students, you know, they don't have to worry about that. It will slide, but not that much. So it's much simpler for younger kids. And also because of Spike Prime is using more like a Scratch. The coding things based on the Scratch. So and we know that many students they have like a Scratch, they have learned Scratch before that. So it's much easier to understand. The other thing is about hardware. Hardware is like that. So same thing. This one has the color sensor. Sorry, has the I'll just share this one. Okay.
Sorry.
It has the color sensor. It has a color sensor. It has the it called distance sensor, so which is about ultrasonic. The other one is the other one touch sensor and the motors. So we don't see the gyro sensor because gyro sensor is built in. Gyro sensor is built in, so we don't have problems about thinking where to put the gyro sensor. And also the gyro sensor is 3 axis. So you can see there's a yaw, there's a pitch, and there's a roll. So this about 3 axis. So it's much easier to use. And also for the Lego Spike, there are 6 ports, but there's no input output. So they are all both input and outputs. So you don't have to worry about A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. You can connect anything to anywhere. So which is much easier. In the other thing, that's about the gyro sensor. The next sensor is the It's a touch sensor. If you look at this one, so the touch sensor does not only show you if it's been touched or not, it also shows you how hard you are pressing that. It will transfer that into newtons from 0 to 10. So that's the other different things from the spike and the EV3. The next thing for the distance sensor is the functions is similar, but different thing is the distance sensor now the shape is the cube. It's not like the previous ultrasonic sensor. You really had a hard time to find where to locate it. This one is just like the other Lego pieces. It's a cube, so it's much easier to install. And the last one is the light sensor, the color sensor. Like before, I think Victor has mentioned, like if we go to the if we change from the room from our home to the competition area, the light might be different. But for the spike, I haven't tested yet, but I think for the spike, when you connect it on, you can see there's a light around it. That will cancel lots of interference from outside light. So I haven't tested, but I think technically it should work better. But I don't. Yes.
Still the same as all.
Oh, still okay.
Yeah. Usually the older one, NXT or electric version or the EV, it still has a head reflection.
Victor, the sound is terrible again.
Sorry.
It's sound is a little bit lagging. So yeah. I haven't tested. So yeah. So I was because I've seen a spike in the in Houston in 2019. Yeah. So one of the person told me it will cancel some interference, but I don't have any chance to test it yet because we haven't get to that far yet. So that's all the electronic parts for the Lego Spike. And the other thing I think is very friendly is that if you go to the Lego website to check the building instructions for the young kids, sorry, for the new starters, for the younger kids. If you search about Spike Prime building instructions, Spike Prime building instructions, you have not only the driving base, it also gives you some ideas about the box robot. So if you look down, so yeah, it also gives you some ideas about box robots, especially for the younger kids if they have no idea about how to build a complicated box robot. They can just follow the official instruction, okay, to see how the box robot should look like, and try that one to complete some missions. But only thing is that if you want to build this one, you have to buy the extension set. That's some yeah. So that's why I'm saying that I think this one is much more friendly. Let me see.
Okay. And John, we know that this new, robot EV3 is coming out soon. I forget what it's called, but it's
Inventor. Inventor. Yes.
Inventor, and it's very similar to the Spike Prime, right? It's almost identical.
It's very, very similar. And also, I saw someone. I saw some YouTube video. I think there was a person. He got Inventor already. I saw some testing there. I can hear the motor the sound from the motor from the inventor is very, very similar to Spike. So far, I don't see any difference. The only difference I see is about colors. I don't see any other different things. Yeah.
I can, Barish, I can add something to that. So for folks that are interested in the Robot Inventor set, it actually went on sale 2 days ago. So it's now available on the LEGO website. The main differences in the electronics is that the Robot Inventor has 4 medium motors and does not have a large motor. And it also does not include the force sensor. It just has the color sensor and the ultrasonic. So yeah, it is available. It comes with a lot more pieces than the Spike Prime set comes. It's got I think almost 900 pieces in the set. So for building bots, it's got a little bit more resources available to it. The one thing that I have been hearing is that there are some differences in the firmware that's been loaded to the hub between the Spike Prime and the Robot Inventor. So some folks have been reporting some problems moving back and forth between the Spike Prime software and the Robot Inventor software with different hubs having some incompatibilities in the firmware that's loaded. So that might be the only caution that folks might have, that if you've got a Spike Prime, you should probably stay with the Spike Prime coding environment. But if you buy the Robot Inventor, perhaps stay with that environment until they get the firmware versions sorted out. That'd be what I'd add on that one.
Okay.
Great, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much, David. John, anything else you want to add?
I think that's it. I don't have too much things to share with the yeah. Do you have any questions? Do you guys have any questions about it?
One thing that I saw when the Spike Prime launched, some of the colors and just the overall easiness of setting it up, I think it appeals also to girls a lot, and so we're trying to encourage more girls to join robotics teams because of Spike Prime.
Yeah, and for younger kids.
Yeah.
Well, the kids from 8 years to 9 years old, when they switch from Weiju to EV3, they don't like EV3 that much because they don't like the colors. Yeah, they think they like more colorful stuff. So when they see the Spike, yeah, I'm teaching. I have like 10 students. They are learning about spikes. When the first time when they see it, they like it. They just think it looks cool. Like they think it looks better than EV3. That's what they think. Yeah, but
I like it better too. I think also the Spike Prime really was developed with FLL in mind, with first Lego League.
Yeah, but for the Spike, the screen has been canceled. So instead of screen, it's about the lights, something like this. So like 25 dots.
Nice.
Yeah, something like that. So the screen has been renamed.
Awesome. Thanks, John. We also we did have Kevin here. Kevin, did you want to just briefly show your robot creation? I know you had also created a Spike Prime.
Okay.
If you had your video on. Hey, so Kevin is a former FLL student and former FLL champion. So Kevin, what did you create with Spike Prime?
Oh, so there were some instructions on if you download the Lego Spike programming app, they have a sort of basic robot base, and on top of it, you can make some attachments, and there are instructions all for it. So for this robot, there are 2 medium motors connected to the ports C and D, and on top of that, there's a touch sensor, there's the ultrasonic sensor, and there's also another medium motor that controls the arm here.
Awesome. And you used to build with EV3, and now you built with Spike Prime. What was your experience? Just the difference?
Yeah, I think this is quite easier, and yeah, just easier to work with in general, especially just putting all the pieces together. Yeah.
And sort of more solid and yeah, reliable. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Kevin, and thanks, John. I think, Ushi, do we have a Q&A now? Or
Yep, that's what we
okay.
spend the rest of our time on.
Okay, yeah, because we were going to wrap up at 2:30, I think.
Yep.
So, yeah, so we have some experts in the room. We have David, Steve, Ushi, John, and myself, and Christine as well. I know this is, there's only a few people in attendance, but we can also ask, maybe some of the top frequently asked questions. But yeah, any questions from the group here for anyone?
I would want to ask David, what is your main challenge as a referee? What do you have to tell the teams most, because they don't do it right?
The thing that happens, I think, the most is illegal launches. So the team positions their robot in the launch area, and they're not clear that there's kind of an imaginary boundary that comes up from that quarter circle that their robot needs to stay behind. So they often have attached to their robot that overhang that quarter. And if they can consider that in the design phase early, so that they don't have a significant problem when they come to the tournament. But when they get into a competition and all of a sudden they find out that their bot has been designed and it will always do an illegal launch, they either are forced to redesign quickly, and that usually creates some other problems, or they have to live with losing some points. That's probably the number one problem that we face. I think the second one as well is, and this one could be just the excitement of the moment, but touching the robot or interrupting the robot prematurely. So they're not waiting for it to come back all the way to home, or they see that it might be getting hung up on the game board, but it hasn't sort of become hung up completely, and they'll grab it and pull it back. So those are the two that I would talk about, is the illegal launches, and then getting the robot all the way back into home before you interrupt it.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for Kevin.
Yes.
Kevin, as a team member, what did you consider the funnest thing at a tournament?
I think just seeing how the robot would perform after all of our practice rounds, because lots of the time, even when you test everything out on your own board, things turn out unexpectedly, and yeah, just that excitement of waiting for what's actually going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. I just had a question for Ushi. Just to where would be the best place for teams to go if they're just a little bit confused about this season in terms of what's going to be remote, what's going to be on site? Like, what's the best place to go for the latest updates on events or tournaments?
Here in BC, they should look at our website, First Robotics BC. Yeah. And go to First Lego League Challenge, to that tab, because that's where I'm putting the updates. So far we have 3 updates there.
Okay.
And if they click on those, they'll see what's the latest. Okay. And one major part for anybody who hasn't even started a team, of course, is that registration is still open, because the season has been extended, and so you can go probably at least till the end of November to actually register a team.
Okay, great. Excellent. And one more question, like if teams are recording, like I work with technology a lot. Are there tips for how to get a good recording such that we would submit them to either judges? Are there tips about sort of that kind of recording?
There are, and they're on ThinkScape.
Okay.
It's the ThinkScape, and then there is remote guidance. People go click on that, There's something called remote reffing guidance.
Okay, awesome. Okay, any other questions? I see that we have Nolan and Cheryl with us today. Any questions about first Lego League challenge? Let's see. And by the way, my background, this is the Estonia International First Lego League event.
I was wondering about that.
And this was 80 teams. It was such an amazing event. And it was hosted in Tallinn, Estonia. And so our team got to go there. It was an amazing experience. And I do hope that after COVID, we get to go back to that. That's one of the exciting things about being able to travel around the world. Kevin's team, I think Kevin was not able to get to that event, but Kevin's team did fundraising. We did bake sales, and we managed to collect the $15,000 or whatever was needed to send the whole team all the way to Europe, and it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. When my daughter was on the team qualified to go to Istanbul to the European Open, and that was pretty exceptional.
Wow. Okay. Okay, well, if you don't have any more questions, we will record this and put it online. A big thanks to Steve and David for being with us today, as well as Kevin and John and Victor. Ushi, thanks so much. Any closing remarks from yourself?
No, I'm happy to have this great team of people to help run this program in VC.
Awesome. And we will put on some more workshops. I think Kevin has a programming workshop, and then we can put those on throughout the season, and we'll let everyone know.
Yes, and we also had been considering doing either, I haven't quite figured this out yet, again, either posting separate workshops, but we may also do short 1 hour recordings like this one, where, for example, a bunch of referees are present, or a bunch of coaches are present, or a bunch of judges are present, so that people know ahead of time this is happening, and I have a chance to talk directly to judges or to refs.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll be in touch. And I hope you have a great weekend, and good luck with your teams practicing. And we'll see you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.